Yo, Everyday Superpower, the place where we talk body language, human dynamics, communication as a whole, and we're gonna get into some good game today, alright? This is personal philosophy. I want you to apply it to your life. If you don't have a strong perspective on this as it is. So today we're going to be talking about working, going to work, all right? Most of us do it. The majority of us have a workplace. We might have to take orders and say yes, sir, and have colleagues we either love or don't get along with, and so on and so forth. You might work in a supermarket, you might work in a law firm, you might work as a bin man, you might work as a cleaner, it doesn't matter. I want to talk about a perspective on your life in the workplace, and I want you to perceive the workplace as a gym. I want you to look around you and see the workplace as a gym, and alternatively, if not interconnected, I want to look at your entire force as a sports team, okay? Now, this is going to get you working. This is going to get you better results. This is going to apply outside of work. So listen in. So, have you ever been to the gym? Have you ever participated in sports? Have you got any hobbies alike what I've referenced? Because these are just two areas of my life that interconnecting, which has sparked this parallel perception of both, right? So when I go to work, whether I be doing manual handling, okay, whether I be in a call center, okay, whether I be doing sales, the idea is I'm wasting my life away if I'm going in and working. Regardless if I get paid the same amount per hour, I'm wasting my life if I go into that work and do the same thing I did yesterday, and I don't at least aspire to perform as well, alright? And the counter argument is, well, if you're getting a fixed rate by your boss, why would you bother working harder and more, okay, if you're not receiving any benefit from it? And that's the argument you will run into with your colleagues, okay? I've heard it all my life. Okay, we've done enough now. Okay, we don't need to go any further above target. They'll just expect us to do more. I've heard this every single day of my life because I work, all right? So it's a gym. You go in there and you train and you get better. If you are in a call center and you've had 10 successful calls, let's aspire to have that as the baseline and go for 11 and go for 12 and go for 13, 20, 50 onwards, right? No, you might not make any more money in doing so, but at least you can look at your 8 hours at work, at least you can look at your 10 hours at work and say, you know what, I didn't waste that time because I applied myself, I used my brain, I developed momentum, and that applies outside of the workplace because you become aware of your own capabilities. The idea of progression and the idea of doing more and creating more and generating more numbers external to the workplace becomes more feasible, more understandable. It becomes a necessity, an actual requirement for you to feel fulfilled, as opposed to you going into work doing the same thing every day for the same amount of monetary value, okay? Now you say, well, we're limited to what we can do. All I can do is 15 sales a day. I'm capped at that. That's just the way my workplace goes. Or, I'm a bin man and I do the same route every morning. I can't really stray from that. I can't really do much more. So now we have to look at how you make the job more efficient, how you apply yourself and understand the role, and how you have a deeper depth of understanding so that you can teach others to do your job just as well as you. And don't get me wrong, you might not go into that teaching field as such, you may not have an apprentice of such, but you have to perceive it and have a deeper understanding and a deeper meaning and have purpose. Because if you don't have purpose, you're spending 8 hours of your day, 10 hours of your day rotting. And the thing is, the majority of us people don't have a choice other than to go to work. So let's apply it in a psychological sense. Let's train ourselves and train our minds to escape the 9 to 5, but whilst we're in the 9 to 5, we'll live and learn. Now, when I say perceive the workplace or the workforce, okay, whether you have 6 colleagues, 20 colleagues, 100 colleagues, 200 colleagues with 5 tiers of people, management, upper management, supervision, HR, blah, 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 CEOs and investors and so on and so forth. Look at it as a sports team, okay? Sports team will have investors, sports team will have advertisement, sports team will have a coach, sports team will have, an owner of the team and so on and so forth, potentially owners of the team. Reapply that in that sense now. You want to be the David Beckham, you want to be the LeBron James. I'm not heavily invested in sports, so I apologize in regards to, any incorrect, portrayal of who you want to be. I mean, back when I was young, David Beckham was the man. I know nowadays you've got other people, but it is what it is. You see where I'm coming from, right? You want to be the top of your game. You want to be the best performer. Now, you have to understand you can make a choice. And what I'm saying here is contrary to a path you can take, which I somewhat advise. At the same point, it's good to have a bit of both, but you don't want to dull your shine for others, right? When you outperform others, you do garner envy, and people may make your work life a little bit tougher, especially initially when you start to outperform people. But such as the sports team, there's the same effect. Do you think everybody in the winning team is in complete admiration and awe of their top scorer, of their most famous performer? No, because they want to be that person, because they're jealous of that person regardless of them being on the same team. So you are experiencing the same knock-on effect whilst you're there being the optimal athlete at your workplace, knocking out the numbers. Now, I'm going to do a separate video in regards to peeping game and not being jealous, but finding understanding in those that are above and beyond you and better than you, okay? If you are outperforming everyone in the workplace and you are gaining no benefit from it after so long, then quite potentially it might be time to find an alternate and continue on your route through your career. Or if you have somebody in that workplace and you're comfortable in that workplace and that person is outperforming you, try and beat them, try and smash them. And what you're doing is you're giving purpose to your day-to-day work, as opposed to, I'm going in to piss away 8 hours of my time so I can pay my bills. It's just a necessary evil. I hate work, but here I am. Instead, you're giving yourself purpose. You're testing yourself. And you know, for the most part, the people I'm speaking to right now are men. You as a man can come home, and if you have children and people who look up to you outside of the workplace, you can be an inspiration to them, because you will work with 90% of the people who will be men, potentially, dependent on the environment. And these men will come to you and say, we've done enough now. And they will give up. And these people will come to you and just be happy with not enough. And these people will hate on the people who are garnering the best numbers, okay? They will hate on the people out of envy and jealousy. And they will say, he only manages to do this because of this, or because he cherry picks, or because they give him the best leads, because they give him the best clientele, or he's been here for so long and I can't believe he's still trying so hard, and blah, 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 blah. But that same person is going to go home to their kids and be that same person. What sort of person would you want to be to influence those who look up to you? The person who tries their best and succeeds, or the person who blames the success of others on other factors that are, let's be real, irrelevant? All of the successful people in the workplace who stay successful, who lead the way, who create the money, they'll get found out within a week or 2 weeks by the management. by the people who overlook them if they're doing it wrong, if they're taking shortcuts. But the people who have done it consistently, months, years, they don't just have a method. They've built a system which allows them to strive and survive, and that system can be reapplied elsewhere in their life. The way they line things up, the way they tick their boxes in order, the way they don't move on to the next thing without accomplishing the first thing, the way they approach and prioritize the tasks at hand. And this could be stacking shelves in a supermarket. There's an efficient way of doing things, and when you clock onto it and use your brain and assess and analyze and outperform the stacking of that shelf better than anybody else, you take that energy, that frequency, that observational skill and talent you have honed and developed and created for yourself, that you have dialed in, that your brain has created new neural pathways to look at the world, and you will reapply that outside of the workplace, and you will become successful, and you will be the leading athlete. You will be the strongest and most muscular bodybuilder outside of that gym, outside of that sports team. And you will reapply it to other gyms, and you will reapply it to other sports teams. You will be the optimal athlete. There's a UK rapper and he says, I get used. I'm useful. You don't get used, you're useless. And I'll leave that on that one. A bit of food for thought. I'm signing out. Peace. Do your best. Do your best.